Okay, next we have aminoglycosides. So for aminoglycosides, meron tayong dalawang sources. First, we have your mycin, which is derived from Streptomyces, and the second one, mycin, derived from Micromonospora. Again, mycin, M-Y-C-I-N, derived from Streptomyces. Mycin, derived from Micromonospora. First aminoglycoside, we have streptomycin. It is the first aminoglycoside used in chemotherapy. Properties: poor oral absorption, broad spectrum activity, for is used for systemic infections. However, the main side effects of streptomycin, siya po ay ototoxic at nephrotoxic. No? So, for you to remember the adverse effects of aminoglycosides, please remember amino. A stands for allergic reaction. M for muscular blockade or neuromuscular agents. Hence, this is contraindicated to myasthenia gravis and tubucurarin. No? Neurotoxic din po ang ating aminoglycoside. Letter I, it is inactivated in the presence of beta-lactamase in vitro. Pero pag in vivo, synergistic ang kanyang effect. Letter N, nephrotoxic, and then O, ototoxic. Again, for your streptomycin, adverse effect niya or side effects niya po ay ototoxic po siya at nephrotoxic. For the chemistry of our streptomycin or aminoglycosides, they are a group of antibiotics in which amino acids are linked by glycosidic bonds. So amino acids are linked by glycosidic bonds. And these antibiotics contain an aminocyclitol moiety to which amino sugars are glycosidically linked. They may be more correctly called aminocyclitol antibiotics. Okay, next, the mechanism of action of aminoglycoside. So they inhibit protein synthesis. Aminoglycosides inhibit protein synthesis. Specifically, the 30S ribosomal subunit. Diba? Remember, by at 30, cell at 50. At 30, 80 aminoglycoside and tetracycline. Ang target nila ay 30S ribosomal subunit. Tapos, cell at 50, we have Chloramphenicol, Clarithromycin, and Lincomycin. Ang target po nila ay 50S ribosomal subunit. For the microbial resistance of aminoglycosides, the most significant breakthrough yet achieved in the search for aminoglycosides resistant to bacterial enzymes has been the development of amikacin, the 1-nitrolevoamino alpha hydroxybutyric acid or LABA derivative of kanamycin. Amikacin is the LABA derivative of kanamycin A. Now, in order to prevent microbial resistance, aminoglycosides are combined with other antibiotics. Okay, next we have Streptomycin Sulfate, Sterile. This was isolated by Waxman from Streptomyces griseus. The term Streptomycin A has been used to refer to what is commonly known as streptomycin. Streptomycin has been called Streptomycin B. It has no anti-malignant property. Yan, for the hydrolysis of our streptomycin, pag na-hydrolyze po ang ating streptomycin, tatlo po ang kanyang products. We have streptidine, we also have streptamine, and then streptidine, streptamine, and N-methyllevoglucosamine streptose. So, yan po yung tatlong products ng streptomycin pag siya ay na-hydrolyze. Next, we have neomycin, obtained from Streptomyces radiae, brand name Neobiotic mycifradine. Kanamycin, obtained from Streptomyces kanamyceticus, brand name Cantrex. Amikacin, brand name Amikin. Gentamicin, brand name Garamycin from Mycomonospora purpurea. Tobramycin, brand name Tebsin. It is the most active of the chemically related aminoglycosides called Nebramycin, obtained from a strain of Streptomyces tenebraeus. Ethylmycin, Neomycin, brand name, obtained from Mycomonospora inuensis. Spectinomycin, obtained from Streptomyces spectabilis, brand name, Tobramycin. Next one, we have tetracycline. Okay, next we have tetracyclines. So the important members of the group are derivatives of an octahydronaphthacene hydrocarbon system that comprises 4 annulated 6-membered ring. Kaya siya tetra, remember, 4 annulated 6-membered rings. The group name is derived from this tetracyclic system. So yan, 4-membered ring, 3, 4. Yan, kaya tetracycline. So under tetracyclines, we have tetracycline, chlortetracycline, oxytetracycline, demiclocycline, metacycline, doxycycline, and minocycline. For the mechanism of action of tetracycline, they are specific inhibitors of bacterial protein synthesis. They bind to 30S ribosomal subunit. So they inhibit 30S ribosomal they inhibit protein synthesis, specifically the 30S ribosomal subunit, and they are thereby preventing the binding of amino acid tRNA to the mRNA ribosome complex. No? Take note, if ever you ingested an expired tetracycline, this may result to Fanconi-like syndrome. So, hindi rin po advisable ang tetracycline sa children because tetracycline can cause discoloration of teeth and temporary stunning of growth. Sa pregnant women, bawal din to because this can cause liver damage. So, absolute contraindication po ang pregnancy sa tetracycline. Ang tetracycline sa pregnancy. Resistance. 3 mechanisms of resistance. First, we have the efflux. B, we have a ribosomal protection. And then C, enzymatic oxidation. For the spectrum of activity, broad spectrum ang activity ng ating tetracycline. However, siya po ay bacteriostatic. Okay, next, we have Tetracycline Hydrochloride. This is also available in ointments for topical and ophthalmic administration. A topical solution is used for the management of acne vulgaris. Next, we have Chlortetracycline Hydrochloride. This is also known as your Aureomycin Hydrochloride. This was isolated by Dugor 181 in 1948 from Streptomyces aureofaciens. Oxytetracycline. This is your Tobramycin from Streptomyces remosus. You also have your Doxycycline. Doxycycline is the drug of choice for leptospirosis caused by Leptospira interrogans. Minocycline hydrochloride is also known as your 7,7-dimethylamino-6-demethyl-6-deoxytetracycline. O, diba? Pwedeng gawing password ng Wi-Fi sa bahay. or pwedeng gawing password ng Facebook para hindi mabuksan ni Jowa ang Facebook account. This is the most potent tetracycline currently used in therapy, Minocycline Hydrochloride. Next, we have MACROLIDES. So, the prototype for macrolide is Teicoplanin. So, three common chemical characteristics of macrolides are the following. First, it has a large lactone ring which prompted the name macrolides. Meron din siyang ketone group and a glycosidically linked amino sugar. We also have your new generation of semisynthetic macrolides. This is known as your ketolides, which is being developed to cope with increasing resistance to other macrolides. Now, the prototype of this generation, your ketolide, is Clarithromycin, brand name Kete. For the mechanism of action of our they inhibit protein synthesis. Tapos ang target nila ay 50S ribosomal subunit. It does not bind mammalian ribosomes. Okay, next we have erythromycin obtained from Streptomyces erythraeus. The commercial product is your erythromycin A, which differs from its biosynthetic precursor, erythromycin B, and having a hydroxyl group at the 12th position of the aglycone. Erythromycin, brand name E-mycin, erythrocin, iloticin. So, erythromycin was found in the soil of Iloilo. So, ang former na pangalan ng erythromycin ay Iloticin kasi nga siya ay na-discover po sa Iloilo. Paki-remember din po ng erythromycin ay isang enzyme inhibitor, and this is the drug of choice for pregnant women who are allergic to tetracycline. This is also preferred for Legionnaire's disease, Mycoplasma pneumoniae, and Campylobacter, and also chlamydial infections, diphtheria, and pertussis. Some of the erythromycin salts, we have erythromycin estearate. This is the estearic acid salt of erythromycin. We also have your erythromycin ethyl succinate. This is the ethyl succinate mixed ester of erythromycin in which the 2-hydroxyl group of the desosamine is esterified. We also have your estolate, yung lauryl sulfate salt. We also have your gluceptate, siya po yung glucoheptonic acid salts. And we also have your erythromycin lactobionate, siya po yung water-soluble salt prepared by reacting erythromycin base with lactobionolactone. Okay, next we have clarithromycin. Clarithromycin is 6-methyl ether of erythromycin. It is a methylated form of erythromycin. Clarithromycin is used together with omeprazole or lansoprazole for H. pylori eradication. The chemical name of clarithromycin is methyl erythromycin. Again, a methylated form of erythromycin. Same as with erythromycin, this macrolide is also an enzyme inhibitor. Next, we have azithromycin. So it has nitrogen sa kanyang structure and 15-membered ring macrolides known as acylides. In contrast to the 14-membered ring macrolide, azithromycin does not significantly inhibit CYP450 enzymes to create potential drug interaction. Azithromycin is administered orally once a day for non-gonococcal urethritis. Bakit once a day lang? Kasi longer po ang half-life ng ating azithromycin. Next, we have lincomycin. So, lincomycins are sulfur-containing antibiotics isolated from Streptomyces lincolnensis. Lincomycin, brand name Lincomycin. Clindamycin is your 7-chloro-7-deoxylincomycin, brand name Cleocin, obtained from Streptomyces lincolnensis. No? Adverse effect of our clindamycin. Our clindamycin can cause pseudomembranous colitis by Clostridium difficile. Pwede rin po siyang mag-cause ng rashes. Drug of choice for pseudomembranous colitis, your vancomycin and metronidazole. Okay, next we have polypeptides. So for the characteristics of our polypeptides, they are acidic, what is an acidic, what is an basic. They're deuterionic or neutral depending on the number of tricarboxyl and amino or guanidino groups in their structures. For the mechanism of action of our polypeptides, they interfere with bacterial cell wall synthesis and are effective only against gram-positive bacteria. So both the gram-mycidines and the polymyxin interferes with cell membrane functions in bacteria. However, the gram-mycidines are effective primarily against gram-positive bacteria, whereas polymyxins, they are effective only against gram-negative species. Next, we have vancomycin. Vancomycin obtained from Streptomyces orientalis. It is particularly effective for the treatment of endocarditis caused by gram-positive bacteria. Please remember that the MOA of our vancomycin, this will target your D. ala terminus. Vancomycin may be administered orally for the treatment of Staphylococcus enterocolitis and for pseudomembranous colitis associated with Gentamicin therapy. Because sabi ko kanina, ang Gentamicin kaya siya mag-cause ng pseudomembranous colitis, di ba? Ang drug of choice for pseudomembranous colitis is your vancomycin or pwede rin po ang metronidazole. Glycopeptides po ang ating vancomycin. Drug of choice for pseudomembranous colitis caused by gentamicin. Adverse effect for vancomycin, red man syndrome. In order to prevent red man syndrome, we will administer diphenhydramine before administering your vancomycin. So, pag i-administer mo siya, kailangan slow IV infusion or slow IV drip. Next, we have your Teicoplanin, obtained from Actinoplanus or plains Teichomyceticus. This drug exhibits excellent antibacterial activity against gram-positive organisms. They appears to be less toxic than vancomycin and also has less potential for causing nephrotoxicity than vancomycin. Next, we have Bacitracin, obtained from Bacillus subtilis, from the debrided tissue from a compound fracture in a 7-year-old Margaret Tracy. Hence the name Bacitracin. Bacitracin is now produced from the Licheniformis group Bacillus subtilis. Your Bacitracin is most commonly used in topical preparation. It has a bactericidal effect by inhibiting mucopeptide cell wall synthesis. So, pag kinambay mo po ang ating bacitracin with zinc, enhance po ang kanyang activity. Next, we have Polymyxin B Sulfate from Bacillus polymyxa. It is used to refer to all the strains that produce the closely related polymyxides called polymyxin. Next, we have Colistin Sulfate, obtained from Aerobacillus colistinus, Bacillus polymyxa, variety colistinus. Gramcidine from Bacillus brevis. Gramcidine acts as an ionophore in bacterial cell membranes to cause the loss of potassium ion from the cell, and it is bactericidal. So, meron po siyang tunneling molecule that act on the plasma membrane and result in uncontrolled movement of ions across cell membrane, leading to cell death. Again, meron po siyang tunneling molecule. Okay, next we have unclassified antibiotics. First, we have chloramphenicol, obtained from Streptomycin venezuelae. Has no odor but has a very bitter taste. Because it is bitter, this antibiotic is administered orally, either in capsules or as the palmitate ester. Essential for activity of chloramphenicol is the nitrate group and the 2 alcohols. Ito po yung nitrate group and 2 alcohols. Ito po ay essential sa activity ng ating chloramphenicol. These two substituents is also responsible for its toxic effects. Nitrate group is responsible for bone marrow depression and aplastic anemia. For the metabolism, since meron siyang nitrate group, this is being metabolized by nitro reduction. The chloramphenicol is the old treatment for typhoid fever. Ngayon po, ang bagong treatment for typhoid fever is ceftriaxone. Next, we have chloramphenicol palmitates. So, the palmitic acid ester of chloramphenicol, it is tasteless prodrug of chloramphenicol intended for pediatric use. The ester must hydrolyze in vivo following oral absorption to provide the active form. So this drug was designed to lower water solubility of the active metabolites. While your chloramphenicol sodium succinate is the water-soluble sodium salt of the hemisuccinate ester of chloramphenicol. Because of the low solubility of chloramphenicol, the sodium succinate is preferred for intravenous administration. So this was designed to increase the water solubility of the active metabolites. Next, we have Mupirocin, obtained from Pseudomonas fluorescens, brand name Pseudomonas acid A or Bactroban. Mechanism of action: this will interfere with RNA synthesis and protein synthesis in susceptible bacteria. Next, we have quinupristin, dalfopristin, obtained from Streptomycin pristinaspiralis. So MOA with protein synthesis inhibitor targeting 50S ribosomal subunits. They are suitable for intravenous administration. Next, we have linezolid, brand name. So this drug inhibits bacterial protein synthesis by inhibiting or binding to 30S and 70S ribosomal subunits. Fosfomycin Tromethamine or Tromethamine, brand name Monorol. So this one inhibits UDP and acetylglucosamine enol pyruvyl transferase or URA by alkylation of the cysteine 115 residue. Newer antibiotics, we have Tigecycline, first in class, Doxycycline intravenous antibiotic that was designed to circumvent many important bacterial resistance mechanisms. So ito po, protein synthesis din po ito, inhibiting protein synthesis by binding to ribosomal 30S ribosomal subunit. Then last we have here Aztreonam obtained from a bacterium Violaceum. This is a monobactam which inhibits cell wall synthesis resulting from a high affinity of the antibiotic for penicillin binding protein number 3.